Hello people, how are you? Hope you guys are fine. Today we are going to create an Azure pipeline uh, and follow all the steps to create an Azure pipeline. Azure pipelines are the creation process is a multi-step process. It's not something that you can create in one go. You have to go from one step to the other step to the next step. The sequence here we will follow is that we have a Git account already created. This is my personal Git account and I have a lot of projects in it, and we will be uh, what we will do that we will create a server on the Azure cloud. So for the server's creation we will use some basic technique which is very easy. Then we will come and manage that server. After that we will go to the GitHub where we have that repository. We will fetch that repository into our server once that server is already running. Then what we will do is that we will go to the Azure, the dev.azure.com, and we will create, because this is already created, you will create your company name or whatever, and then create a few projects according to your need. I have already created three or two projects. This one is not running. So the process is like this. First of all, we need to go to mm, the Microsoft, and please note one thing: if you know something already in these steps, you need to you can skip those steps, and you can go forward. So let's go. First we will create a resource, and that resource will be our virtual machine. Now my account is a sponsored account by Microsoft Azure. We have been granted some 25,000 US dollar already for our startup. Yours will be new, so based on that you should select your resources accordingly, otherwise you will be charged. So I'm selecting a resource group. Then I'm naming this virtual machine, for example, test machine, right? And then what I'm doing is that I'm leaving everything as it is, because these are my predefined properties for a virtual machine. I'm using Ubuntu Server 2004 long-term support version. I'm using a 64x architecture. I'm using a standard D2SV3, 2 vCPUs and 8 GB memory gig, $78 a month. And we will leave everything. For the username we will use this one, and for the uh, for the for the uh, secure login we will be using a key pair, right? And we will go towards desk. The desk will be I'll use the standard SSD because that is a bit cheap than premium one. Then go to networking. We should not touch these just for this demo, because if I touch these and teach about these, it will take a lot of time. You should go to management. These properties you can change for your purposes. I don't change them. Monitoring, advanced, tags, and review and create. It will check that if you have already uh, passed all the requirements or not. Once these are done, everything is done. You can just click create and the resource will be created for you. But I am not creating it right now. I can go and I can show you already created resources. So for this demo purpose, I'll show this one, Core Employee Backend. This one is already running with me. It has an IP address, it has a desk, it has some CPU and everything. And then when you have done that, you will once the previous step, once you have clicked the create button, it will show you a pop-up to download the PEM key. the PEM file. The PEM file can be converted to a key by PuttyGen. I have downloaded these two softwares, PuttyGen and Putty. The Putty is used for logging into your server, and the PuttyGen is used to convert the PEM into a key file. The PuttyGen, if you open it, you should load that key file from your downloads here. It will be in your downloads. You can go to all files and you will see the key files. Where are they? See, like this one. When you load this one, it will say, it will tell you a prompt, and then you can save a private key, and then you can rename that key, right? I'll close this one. Once you do that, you will be able to log in through Putty. So I'll go to this one and Putty, and then I can give the server IP here in the session part, and then in the SSH part you can go to auth and credentials here, and then you can browse for that key that you saved from your PuttyGen. And once you do that, you can open the connection and it will be open. You can also, once you browse this key here, you can click on session again, and the IP here, you can name that session, so you don't need to log in again and again and putting all these details here. You can just name it like I have did all these ones. See, I can just click on anyone and then click open, and it will create a session for me with that. So that's the process of whole creating a server on Azure, and then creating the PEM the key file from the PEM file, and then loading it from the Putty here. You can do it in many other ways, but this is how I do it. So the server part is done, the key file part is done. Now what we need to do is that we need to go to Putty and then connect to that server, just like I told you. So I am connecting to this one because this is the backend server. I will click here, double click it, and it will ask me my username, so I can connect here. Now I am connected here. Now I can go to my already added user, which I have added for myself. I don't use the root user normally because that is really dangerous to use, and once that user is leaked and somebody access your server, they can do anything. So I have created my own user. This is my user, and I'm logged in now, and I can shift to the main directory and ls there, and this is the repository that I have created here on the root folder of this user. This user has a root folder, and I have a repository called Curb Employee Backend. You can just go to your GitHub like this, and then go to your repository like this, clicking on it, and just copy the link, and just come here back again and git clone and paste the link here and enter, and it will create a repository for this. Then you need to click on npm install, and for installing all these packages, and once that is done, you can run your repository, and you can browse it in the browser. But keep in mind that before you browse it, it might be that your server doesn't has the networkings on. See, I have created a port 80 and port 443. They are open for general public, so you need to open these ports for general public to access them. It's in the networking section in the Azure, in your resource, where the resource is open now. See, so once that is done and your project is running, now it will be running somehow like this. Now because I have managed the DNS as well, I can click it, and it says that it should be accessed only on API. So this is the API that I'm running right now, and this is the this is the backend API for one of my project, and the project is employee.services. Yeah, so this is the project that is running right now, and this is its backend, and we are trying to deploy we tried to create a server for this API, which I showed you in the video. Now the main theme of this whole video is that how can we create a CICD pipeline, that whatever we do in our local code environment, whatever we push to this and GitHub repository here, is automatically fetched or pulled from here and then deployed to our backend server, this one, right? This is the whole theme. So for this purpose, the first thing is that you need to go to the dev.azure.com, create your company, create your projects here. See, then when you create a project, I have created this project, Corp Consumer Backend, and inside this project we have many other things. See, for our interest, we are interested in pipelines, but before going into pipelines, you need to connect your GitHub account with this Azure Dev, right? So for this you need to go to project settings and then come to GitHub connections, this one, and once you are here you need to create a new connection, connect your GitHub account like this, and it will tell you what are you connecting, your personal account or your own organization. Because I have my repositories in this organization, also in my public account, but I don't use the public account because this is my interest. So I'll click this one, and once this one is clicked, it will show you a lot of like repositories here. Then you can choose which one you want to select. You can select all of them, or you can select only the one that you want the pipeline to be created for, right? So I have selected all of them, and it shows me that you have all these repositories here, right? This is the method. Once this is created, this repository is created, this connection is created. This is the first step. The second step is that you need to go to agent pools. These are the agent pools, pipelines and agent pools. The pool should be considered like a basket, you know. For example, if you have 10 balls and you have one basket, the basket is your pool, right? So for every you can create a pool for every single pipeline, or you can every single server, but you can also create a pool that will contain many servers. In my case, these two will be your default, I guess, or default will be the one that you will be seeing when you want to try this. But the thing is that I have created a single pool for every server, right? So in this video, because I am doing it practically, I'll create a pool and I'll name it and there are two types of agents, pool types. One is self-hosted and one are Azure Virtual Machine Scale Set. I don't know honestly about Azure Virtual Machine Scale Set. I have only learned about the self-hosted one. And the pool name will be Curve Employee Backend, because we are now creating a pipeline for this API, the one that we are using in this project. This is the front end and this is the back end, right? So what we are doing is that we are creating a pool here, and that's it. And grant access permission to all pipelines. Yeah, check this one, create. Now we have a pool here, right? Now inside that pool we have jobs, details, security, approval, and checks. We are only interested in agents. Now what is an agent? An agent is a script, or you can say a cron job that runs between the dev.azure pipeline and your server. So that script needs to be connected somehow, so that whenever the pipeline sends something changed in your repository, it will pull it from there and put it in on your server, right? All that code will be pulled, compiled and then put it on your server, right? So for here, in our case, we will create a new agent, and we are creating what? We are creating a Linux agent, because if you saw before, our server is a Linux based or is an Ubuntu 20.04, right? So I am on this repository right now, and the create agent pop-up says that you have many options here: Linux, Windows, and Mac OS. We are interested in Linux. The first thing is that wherever your project is, I will copy this. I will go to my project, and I should be on the same directory. For my easiness, I should be on the same directory like my repository here, right? So I'll say sudo no, sorry, I'll say I should copy them. Copy, paste. Yeah. So it says that create a directory, make directory my agent, and cd my agent. So I am now in my agent directory right now. Then what's the process ahead? You need to download a script, and the script download link is here. You can copy it, and for Linux I think we have wget and then the link, right? And when I click enter, it will download that script in tar file in tar format. If I click ls, there you go, we have that tar file here. Now what we need to do is to extract that tar file. So we will copy the tar zxvf and then paste it here, and then give it a space, and then copy that name here and paste it here, right? And once we enter it, now if we ls list everything, there you go, we have these files. Or if I say ls minus la, these are my files. So the first thing first, we need to configure this agent. We can go to the window again and copy this command /config.sh. we can paste it here and click enter. So it asks a few questions here. First, let me just make the window a bit more readable, because the screen is big for me, and it will be difficult for the viewers. Okay, so it says that enter y and y are not for accepting the terms and conditions. I'll say y. Not here. What happened? Okay, and now it asks for enter server URL. The server URL in our case is up till this part, not the projects including part, not this one. We should ignore all this URL, and we should only copy this path, because this is the company where all the projects are. So we should copy this, and we should go back to the terminal and paste that URL here and click enter. It says that please enter authentication type. So personal access token is the way that is preferred. So I'll enter it, and it will ask for the personal access token. Now how can we generate the personal access token? You can come back to the window where these instructions are. You can close this one, and you can hover over your settings here, this icon, and here you have personal access tokens. So I have a few of them already generated for my other servers. You can create a new token. I'll name the token curb employee backend BAT, and I'll say custom defined. I mean, this asks how much time should this token be working. I'll say custom defined, and I'll give it a future date, go further until it's not going anymore, right? So this is the last date that I can use in the calendar, so it's almost an year. I'll give it full access, and I'll create it. Okay, now this token should be kept secret, so I'm copying it here and I am pasting it with me somewhere safe. Save it and then come back, and now copying it again and using it in my terminal where the terminal was. If I paste it here, you can, whatever you copy here, you can click the right mouse button to paste it here, right? And then you can enter. It will say connecting to server and register agent, and what agent you want to connect this script with. Now I'll show the agent, and the agent for me was that if you click it enter, it will go to the default pool, right? We don't want to go this agent to the default pool. We want to go to the pool that we created before. You can go to back and then agent pools, and then come to this pool, employee backend. You can copy the name and you can enter the name here and enter. And now it says that enter agent name, so I'll do this name as it's written already. So I'll enter connecting to the server, successfully edit the agent, testing agent connection, enter work folder by default. Now I'll show you one more thing. What is this saying? Underscore work. This is the folder where when the code you push to your GitHub repository first comes to this folder here on the server, and then we follow other steps to move this code to the place where the code is running actually, right? That's what we want. So enter work folder, this is the work folder. I'll accept it, enter, and that's it. My agent is now configured, but it's not running yet, remember that. Because if you come back to the screen and come to the agents, it will say offline. See, GitHub employee backend agent is offline, meaning it's not sensing the jobs. You need to the first thing is that you need to sense the jobs, or sense what's happening on the pipeline. So now it's doing nothing, it's offline. We need to make it alive, right? So if you remember, by new agent pop-up window there was a command run.sh, right? Copy it, come here and paste it here, but don't run it yet. If you run this command, you need to keep this window open all the time, otherwise that agent will go offline again. For this purpose we can say no hub or no hang up, right? And paste that command and shift 7, right? No hub, that command, and when you run that, if I run that, enter, it will say that it's running, and you can click enter again. Now this command is running in the background even if you close this terminal, but we will not close it because we will have more things coming, right? Now what's happening is that we are done with our agent configuration, and if you see, our agent is alive now, it's online, or it's looking for something to fetch there on the server. So for this demo, this whole demo, I think this is the first part, how to configure, how to connect your GitHub with your Azure pipelines or your Azure Dev, and then how to configure your agent. Now in the next part, or maybe in the next couple of parts, I don't know how much time will it take, I'll show you how to configure the pipeline and how to configure the release pipeline, and then run them, and then do some changes in our local code and push it to the live API, and then test it whether it's working or not, right? So for this video it's fine now, because then the video will go more longer, and I don't want the users or the viewers to get bored. See you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.